Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bobby Likes the Spooky. This is, I believe, day 10 of reviewing Halloween movies, leading up to Halloween Ends, which we're all excited about. And obviously, today I'm bringing special guests with me because I've been doing this, since I started. And we're going to be talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, this very divisive film. I feel like we have a lot of opinions about this movie, especially the difference between the theatrical cut and the director's cut. But before we get into the movie, let's bring up some of my friends. Today I have Grae and Ash from Kill the Dead podcast and Rise from the Dead podcast. What's up, y'all?
Yes. Hi.
Hey,
Oh man. Thanks for coming on, y'all, to talk about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Thanks for having us.
instant classic.
Woo! No, people might
Yeah.
want to fight you for that.
Thank you for having us back.
Of course. The last time I had y'all on with Dev, we were talking The Faculty, and that was a lot of fun. So I'll go back and watch that video sometimes because it was a good time to talk about that movie with y'all. I had to have y'all back. Any chance I get to collaborate with y'all, I'm going to take it if I'm not too busy or if y'all not too busy or whatever. But yes, thank you for coming on and to talk about this crazy movie.
Yes, it's crazy, crazy movie indeed.
Yes. So do y'all want to plug y'all socials before we get started?
Now, I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I mean,
Anybody can go first. It doesn't matter.
I shall, since I'm so quick to talk. I'm just kidding. You can follow me on Twitter at Ash to Ashes. That's Ash with the X in the middle, Ashes. You can also follow my podcast page on Twitter at Rise from Dead Pod. And I will be releasing a new episode soon. It'll be my first episode in like a couple of months because, life.
Yeah. Yes, I'm excited.
And you can find me on most social medias at Grae himself. That's Gare himself. And also, Gray Matter is coming back one day. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna do it. It's been forever hiatus, but hopefully a couple episodes next month.
Oh yeah. I feel like you got something brewing and you're just not telling us, but it's okay.
It's just taking the time to do it. Like I'll show up for this, but I won't show up for myself.
Trust me, I know that feeling oh so
Yeah.
well. Anybody, I like, yeah, I'm there, but then when it's time for me to do my own shit,
Like,
I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
Like I gotta
but
do
y'all
the
helping,
editing.
right? But y'all helping. Like again, this is kind of an excuse because I'm not by myself. I'm talking with y'all, so it's like a little bit easier. So, and I'm not dreading it. So, yeah. All right, so let's talk about Halloween 2. I'm gonna read the plot of this insane film.
Dun,
Um,
dun, dun.
a year after narrowly escaping death at the hands of Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is at the breaking point, pushed to the edge by Dr. Loomis' revelation that she's Michael's sister. Little does she know, the unstoppable killer is back in Haddonfield and driven by visions of their dead mother. He is determined to bring about a bloody family reunion. This movie is directed by no other Rob Zombie. So, yeah, Halloween 2. So, when was the first time y'all seen this? Did y'all go to the theaters to see this? Did y'all wait for VOD? I guess VOD was out at that time. Blu-ray, DVD.
Yeah, I think my first time was DVD. Yeah. So like
Okay.
unfortunately I did not have the honor of witnessing this movie in theaters.
Mm. How
I
about you, Joe?
saw this at home for sure. I wanted to go, but it was also the recession. So the
Oh,
money won't flow in at the time.
yeah. I seen this in theaters at midnight viewing, which we were talking about not too long ago.
Yeah.
Before we recorded, I remember at 12 a.m. because I was just so hyped because I did like the first Rob Zombie Halloween movie, and a lot of people look at me crazy because that is my first Halloween movie I've seen in theaters. Like I've never seen H2O and I've never seen Resurrection in theaters, unfortunately. And Michael Myers is like my favorite serial killer and the horror world. And I'm just like, damn, Rob Zombie, like that was my first like Halloween movie. So when I went and see that movie, I I enjoyed it. I like, you know what, it's different. And then Danielle Harris, I was a huge fan of hers, and like to see her come back and play, a character that I like, Andy Brackett from the first movie. I said, you know what, let's see the new spin on this. And then Michael was, a little bit more savage compared to, the OG Michael. So I was here for the whole thing. But when you go back and watch that movie, you obviously find its flaws and it's not perfect. And it went from here, and then it came down a little bit. And then same
Mhm.
for this movie. I was such like on such a high coming from this movie. Like I even wrote on Facebook, like, this movie's fucking awesome. And Facebook reminded me in
Your
August when this came
memories.
out. Yes. And I'm just like, oh, I said that. I'm not sharing this with anybody.
I swear,
Um,
Facebook memories. Oh, I be wanting to slap myself sometimes. Like,
yes.
Ash, what were you thinking?
Right. Listen, I said a lot of stuff, and I say, look, if we ever become big, it's like I'm deleting all social media and starting new, because I don't want nobody digging some shit up that I said when I was like 18, 19, 20, 21 years old or whatever, just
Mhm.
because, you're in a different world now. And sometimes we're ignorant to some of the things we said. And it's, I mean, I don't remember anything I said back then. I'm sure it wasn't like horrible, but I'm sure I said some things that didn't make people too happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Facebook is known for getting people out of here with their memories for sure.
You'll be like that Kiki Palmer video with I don't know who that man is. I don't
Yeah,
know that man.
that was me when the Halloween thing came up. I was like, oh, I don't know who that was. Like, I'm sorry to that man. Um, but you know what? I'm going to stand by it because that's how I felt then. And I remember, again, I was a Michael Myers fan. Well, I am a Michael Myers fan. So going into it, thinking, all right, I wonder how they're going to continue this one, and then watching the trailer, because they make the trailers look great, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Mhm.
Like, I'm thinking it's going to be in the hospital again, and being as though we had a crazy Michael in the first Rob Zombie one, imagine this one. He looked a little bit more terrifying because he got like half a mask, and I just thought it was going to be more intense. And this movie is intense, but the storyline is definitely choices. There's
Yup.
choices. But even with the theatrical version, like, I'm happy I seen the director's cut, because, and well, the director's cut obviously wasn't in theaters, but I got that on DVD, and I remember I was pissed because I'm just like, this wasn't what I seen. But then I grew to like that one so much more because um they expanded on Laurie's trauma on that one more than the theatrical version. The theatrical version, it just seemed like she was hurt and she's getting these visions, but you quite don't understand. But the director's cut version, you kind of understand more. She's a little bit. She's in a dark place. She's spazzing out on Annie. She's spazzing out on her therapist, and she's saying and doing dark things. And I appreciate that version a little bit more.
I would say there's no way I can say this without sounding shady, but I
Go for
think
it.
that's the one thing Rob Zombie got right. The only thing he got right is that
Okay.
for years we've watched final girls survive and come back to the next film, but we never explore the actual trauma or the nightmares, the psychosis. This is the first time I've seen a final girl pop pills, you
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
And it's just like nothing against mental health or anything like that, but it wasn't depicted to us. It was just like,
Right.
oh, they're back. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
And then and again, we see that in Halloween 2018, Lori aftermath and the way she lived her life based on 78.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that this Lori, I'm not saying that David borrowed anything from Robert, but at least there's precedent.
Probably. Probably. I mean, with David's version, I feel like he's, even though those are his movies, I feel like he's still taking and paying homage in some way to those movies. Um, in his recent films.
Mhm.
So I mean, that could be a choice that he decided to do and just didn't say anything.
Yeah. Probably seems like it's the safe route to go. Cause imagine making like a whole like different Halloween movie and you're not paying any type of like homage to like any of the previous films. Like people will have an uproar over that.
Mhm. Right.
So I feel like that's the reason why he decided to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't complaining. I'm
No,
still
nor
gonna
am
see the
I.
movie.
Of course. I mean, for casual fans, like they won't get the stuff that we catch, like they just go in there just to see Michael do his thing. But we're like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like
What?
pointing when we see the little Easter eggs and shit like that, and they're looking
Yeah.
at you like, what? And I'm just like, Halloween 78 or Halloween 2. Like, come on. Like, you don't see that? And they're looking
Right.
at you like, no, you're crazy.
What's that?
So,
What's that dollhouse?
right, and the mask, the season of the witch mask, and they're sitting there
Yeah.
just like, wait, what? And it's just like, you don't know? Halloween 3? There was a 3? Well, yeah. So it just, I don't know. But shout out to David Gordon Green. I know a lot of people don't like many well, I'm not gonna say many of his movies, but like at least the Halloween Kills in 2018. But I do give him props for taking a shot and making it original and kind of like going from the first movie and building from that world again. That's not an easy thing to do because obviously people have been taking the storylines and it's been jumbled up and mixed up because you have Lori being brother and sister with Michael, and then she has a daughter, and then you have a cult situation, and then
Ugh.
they erase all of that, and then we go like it's just so much happening. And I could appreciate him just saying, you know what, fuck everything, even part two. We're just gonna go from part one and just build from that. And I can appreciate that. I still feel some type of way how he did the legacy characters in Kills. But
Yeah.
again, that's choices. So
I do think that something you said there actually makes me think that Rob Zombie and perhaps Kevin Feige, because they've been the same time, they were people who were fans that got to be in the driver's seat. Part of Rob Zombie's deal for this film was that he had complete creative control, for better or worse.
right.
But as a Wes Craven fan, knowing that he missed out on so many opportunities because no one wanted his vision or cared about the way he wanted his franchises to go, that they've gone whichever way. But Rob Zombie doing what he's doing, Kevin Feige for the whole MCU, it's like putting fans in the driver's seat. And I don't want to see sequels by people who are just reading the material for the first time. Not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily getting in the character. Like let's stop the comic books right there. But like the rest of the stuff, I want someone that geeks about us just as much as me. Like David Gordon Green choosing to use Halloween as canon and then pay homage to the other films, but not necessarily incorporating them, so to speak, is a
Yeah.
great mix of, hey, I'm a fan too. I appreciate
Mm-hmm.
what was there. I'm not going to ignore that. But however, from my storytelling, this is the one I pick, and we're going to go this direction, which
Yes.
absolutely love him for. Are there
Mm-hmm.
flaws in Kills in 2018? Sure.
Yes.
There's flaws in every horror movie I've ever watched,
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
except
It's
for
not going to
Texas
be
Chainsaw.
perfect. Oh Lord. Listen, let's talk about that new one because that shit is flawed.
Oh
But
yeah.
I still had a great time with that one. A lot of people, again, it was on Twitter. Everybody was getting me the fuck out of here because I said just have fun with the movie, and it's like, what do you mean? Tell us to have fun. I'm just like, oh, here we go. Um, but you're right, Grae. Like you mentioned something about Rob Zombie having total control, and I think that's why that's why he decided to do a second one because after that first one, he was going like, you know what, like I'm done. But when they say he can actually have total control in the next one, he said, you know what, I'll do it because he said it was a pain in the ass to do that first one,
Mhm.
and a lot of pressure because you're doing a remake or reimagining from a classic, Cars. And like that's a lot of pressure. I can't imagine like me being in his spot and I'm trying to remake a fucking classic. Like that's a lot. So I'm happy that he did his own thing with telling Michael's story when he was a young boy, and then all of a sudden we get a little later that it's kind of like a retelling of the first movie with a little bit of changes, which I didn't mind at all. So I give him props for that. But in this movie here, he just went complete,
Yeah.
his own original story, and I think that's what I like about it. I used to hate when Michael did not have his mask throughout this whole fucking film. He put it on slightly when he's about to kill, but him just
Mhm.
walking around in his hobo gear, and I was just like, this is not the Michael I know and want. Maybe like I don't like this, but
It was
Um,
creepy though.
it
Like
was creepy. That's the thing. That's why, like, when I first seen this movie, like, the kills were awesome, and I was still mixed with Michael Kelsey. You know what? It's creepy because they're going a realistic approach. He's not like the boogeyman or the shape. He's a human being in this one. So he's hiding out in the woods. He's a homeless person, and he's still, he's a human being. So he's living like that. So it made it a little bit more realistic and a little bit more creepy and scary. So I can appreciate it from that approach, but again, the thing I like about Michael is you don't know what it is. They call it the shape for a reason.
Mhm.
But I had to respect that this is Rob Zombie's vision and this is the way he's going with his second film.
And I want to like go back to what you just said, like with Rob, like not having that much creative control with like the first film, but he did with the second film. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize like that is like a big issue in filmmaking. Like, yeah, you're the director, but it's like you got to listen to all like the producers and all the people that have their money involved in
Yeah,
this project. Like, yeah, you may be the director, but
yeah,
you don't get much say in it unless you actually get written in your contract that you're going to have creative control on the film. And I feel like that could be, I mean, it could be positive and negative.
oh yeah,
Like, having like people controlling your creative like control, like that's going to show in the movie. Like,
hmm,
Mhm.
audience are going to be able to tell the difference between you being controlled and you having like complete freedom to do whatever you want to do. And like with the Halloween movies, like the first and the second film, like you can see a difference.
oh yeah, yeah. It's funny too because even it that editing plays a part too. So sometimes directors don't even know how their movie's going to look until it hits the theaters or whatever, and they're just like, wait, hold up, what? They took the best parts out and stuff. Even actors are the same way. When they go see this stuff, they're just like, oh damn, I worked hard on the scene, and it didn't even make the cut. All right, cool,
Right.
whatever. So you're right. Like, producers have a part in it. The studio, a lot of people have their hands mixed in to a movie where when the final part come out, you don't know how it's going to look, or you might have to do a whole bunch of reshoots. One movie that sticks out to me. I mean, there's a lot, but one that sticks out to me because I recently watched it was Cursed. Wes
Mhm.
Craven's Cursed.
Yes.
That's one of
Yeah.
my favorite. Listen, that's one of my favorite werewolf movies. It's not problematic, but it's messy. And when I mean messy,
Yes.
it's you can just the history behind that movie is just there's so many cuts
Yeah.
that like everybody wanted the Craven cut, but unfortunately they're saying, oh well, it's gone. Like we got still photos, but there's no actual cut of that. Like it's gone. They got rid of
Oh, I
it.
would love to see that cut. Oh,
Yes, and when they Screen Factory dropped that Blu-ray, was about to drop it, I was like, yes, we're going to get the Craven cut. We're going to get the different version with what's his name from Scream?
Skeet,
Yeah,
Skeet
Steve
Ulrich.
Ulrich. Yeah, we was
Mhm.
going to get that. We was going to get like different types of characters in, and then nope, we seen the pictures,
I
but
know
there's no other
that
cut.
someone posted a video, and it was a scene with Skeet like in character, and like
Oh,
I
okay.
can't remember what scene it was. And I was like, okay, I feel it, but I'm a Joshua Jackson fan. Like that's my he can't be my hubby, but I love me some him. So it's like I don't want to believe that Skeet was originally cast in that role, but
Yeah,
it wasn't bad. But I love Joshua.
I
yeah.
also think people just hold on to those things until the price is right. Because
Hmm.
if we go back to Halloween 2018, the knife fight with Lori and Michael is missing.
Where is it?
Didn't happen yet on the 4K or Blu-ray cut. So 10-year, 20-year anniversary. Hopefully, we get to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll still buy it.
there's always
you
a
know
copy
it.
of something. There's always a copy of a copy.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Hollywood.
Like Grace said, 10 years later, Screen Factory is going to be like, oh, this is the version that, was meant to be in theaters. But no, I'm just like, seriously? Like, I just wonder why they just didn't put that into the regular deleted scenes. They probably knew that they were going to, release it later.
Yeah.
Because they know people are going to pay money to buy a copy that has that in it.
Yeah.
Sure. And I
Yeah.
think on set, it incentivizes people not to throw away stuff. The original Freddy glove is just sitting in some asshole's apartment.
Yeah.
somewhere in Hollywood, and he's never going to turn it in. But yet his friends come over, or his or her friends come over. It's like, it's not the Freddy glove. Yep.
Yeah. I would hope Rob have that. Robert Englund. Like, I mean, why wouldn't he have that glove?
I mean, it could be him.
Yeah.
Sitting there drinking a glass of Chablis.
But yeah, I said, like I mentioned, Curse. Like I feel like that's one that's been all over the place because studios, like I guess the Weinsteins didn't like the version that that was originally made, so they had to go back. And I remember Christina Ricci and even Judy Greer was like, I feel like I was making this movie forever. Like they said, it felt like it just never stopped because they always had to do reshoots and film scenes over again, and it was just a lot. So I'm just happy with, at least with Rob's, vision as a director. I'm happy that he was able to do his own with this one, and I grew to like it. Like when I watched it recently to prepare for this, I said, you know what, I actually do enjoy this movie. This is the better movie. I feel like this is maybe one of my favorite Rob Zombie movies. I love House of a Thousand Corpses. I like Devil's Rejects for different reasons, but it's not one of my faves. But I would put House of a Thousand Corpses, Lords of Salem, and then Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I like Lords of Salem a lot. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go
Lords of
back
Salem
and
get
watch.
messy. No, it gets messy at the end, and I check out a little bit. But I will say, like that first half pulled me in, and the atmosphere of that movie was just so good. And I actually enjoyed Sherry Moon Zombie. And the other time, I can't really tolerate her, but I actually enjoy her in Lords of Salem for the most part. So those are my top 3 from Rob for now. Well, right now at least.
I've never considered the Lords of Salem. For me, it's Devil's Reject, or I'm sorry, House of a Thousand Corpses, El Super Bisto, H2.
Okay.
I guess I never heard of that one.
Mm-hmm.
It's an
Isn't that like an
animated
anime? Yeah, it's animated.
Okay. I'm probably like one of the very few people that really enjoy Halloween. So I'm going Halloween and then Devil's Rejects and then I don't know what the last one would be. Maybe House of a Thousand Corpses. I was going to bring up 31, but it's been a while since I've seen it and I remember like feeling underwhelmed by it. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have fun with 31.
I mean,
but...
I remember going to theaters and seeing it. I was like, it's only one night only. But I was like, I'm going to go to the theaters and see that. And it was an experience in the theaters, but I was just like, I remember sitting there at the end. I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
But I like the ending, but like,
that's it.
But like the middle of the movie, I was just like, okay.
Yeah. Say what you will about his filmmaking and or style or always hiring Sherry, even if she's not the best actress for the job. But the one thing Rob Zombie has always been good about is marketing. He's always done his own marketing for everything from the music to the movies. It's never any firm. He's not wasting money hiring other people to do it. He does it. Just like you sparked my memory when you said the one night only. I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it worked. I win. So I think that he should get credit in that own right. And he definitely has his own style. Like even for this film, Robert Draper is the cinematographer for it, who did Halloween 5. And it's like night and day as far as like his work in the 80s. And for this film, nothing against Robert, but it's clear that the director had a strong influence of how the film was going to be shot, irregardless of bringing back a legacy crew member. Is that a thing? Legacy crew member? I'm making that a thing.
I guess you can make it a thing. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Speaking of Sherry Moon Zombie, how did y'all feel about her role in this one? Because listen, she was cool in Halloween. She died, and I believe that should have been the last of her.
Yes.
There should have been no reason why she's floating around with a white horse that they did not talk about in that first movie, and all of a sudden he has a fascination with white horses and stuff in this one, and that's just an excuse to bring back damn Sherry Moon Zombie.
It is, and I'm glad you brought that up. And I'm just gonna say, pretty gowns, pretty dresses.
Yeah.
that was one of my biggest gripe about this movie. Like the whole her being back in it, and then the whole white horse and like that whole storyline. But it's like I can see where he was going with it, but at the same time, how it all came about just did not mesh well.
Mm-mm.
And
Yeah, I
then
think that's when the studio should have stepped in because
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
Right.
I know we gave you creative authority, but
But we just want to
Yeah,
take
I mean,
this out.
he opens the movie with, "Here's my reason why I put my wife back in the film." That's what that open title card is saying.
right.
And I really do think that they added a supernatural element that I'm not sure needed to work,
Yeah.
or needed to go in the film. It doesn't work, but needed to go in the film. I think it makes Lori look hysterical, and she's not having. Oh no, she's not having at the beginning of the film a mental health issue. She's a teenager that survived trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And then like by the end, they just make it look like she's hysterical and manic and like she's lost all reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's not really fleshed out as to what is this hold that the family name all of a sudden has on her that only takes effect when she realizes she's related.
Right.
Like, where was this psychosis her whole life before that?
I was gonna say that, like in the first Halloween, it's not like they hinted, oh, like she's talking with her mom and maybe she had a dream, like, oh, I had a dream with a strange lady, but whatever. Like that's like there was no hints of any of that. Then all of a sudden we get into this movie, and I guess it triggered something after that, that event that happened between her and Michael in that first one. I guess after that, it just now all of a sudden they got this sidekick connection. So whatever he eats, she feels it and she tastes
got
it.
sick, yeah.
And then she's getting these like premonitions and just I'm just like, all right, the trauma part is great. Like I understand her, rebelling against, Sheriff Brackett and her falling out with Annie that used to be her best friend. Like that's realistic. That's cool. But now you're having these like these weird premonitions in the bathroom and you're shaking and just cursing your friend out. You got upside down crosses, yelling cunt and stuff to your damn friend. Like it was just a lot. That's the theatrical version. Ash. I'm not too sure. No, that was in the theatrical version too. I mean the director's cut. I think it was in both. I think it was in both of them.
I'm like, you get out my house. Bye.
I might be grasping at straws, but this is a real-time realization. Maybe it only happens after you kill someone from your bloodline. Michael and his sister, her on Michael. She was fine the whole film, and then she finally killed her brother. And maybe that's what triggers it, is you sacrificing your blood.
Know what? I would take that if they explained that, but they didn't.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that was his intent. I'm just saying.
But that's better. I would accept that. Like, it's a thing in your family line, I guess. Maybe it triggered something. Like if you kill somebody in the bloodline, you might have this connection. Like I would be okay with that. It didn't make sense for me to see Sherry Moon Zombie in this gown and a damn horse walking in slow motion throughout the rest of the movie.
Like where did you get that horse from? It's like,
right. Like where do you get it from? And why you got like I don't know.
But it's like what you said. Like if they had enough time to add in all this unnecessary stuff, like some of these like dreams. I mean, they could have took like 5 minutes to go into like what's really happening. Mm-hmm. They could have gave a little backstory. He had enough time for it. He didn't have to show us all that weird shit. But how do y'all feel about the recasting of younger Michael Myers? That took me out.
Yeah. I mean, I get it because I think the actor's name is Dave from the first one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they said he got older, like he grew and he didn't look the same. So that was the whole point of just them recasting that.
To myself.
Yeah, he looked. This is YouTube. Let me chill.
Yeah.
People can find it. You'll never know who's watching. But I mean, yeah, it took me out a little bit. But at the same time, I guess he wasn't a huge part of the movie. But at the same, I don't know.
I mean, he could have.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I remember hearing something like he had a drug problem.
Well, now,
oh,
I don't know back then because he was still kind of he was a kid because this movie only came out 2 years after the 07 one. So I
Because
mean, I
yeah,
hope he wasn't doing drugs then.
I know he
I
did
saw
Hancock around the
Hancock with Will
time.
Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was like after the first one came out.
Or were they the
Yeah,
Yeah,
same year?
were they?
probably.
Let me look that up because I loved Hancock.
Yeah, that was
Remember, like the
around.
kid from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter was a drug addict, is dead.
Oh
The younger
yeah,
brother, and he was a kid. Drew
true.
Barrymore got out of the game.
Listen, this was back in the day. Life was hard.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how well life is hard now, but I think kids was a little bit different.
So Hancock was 08. Halloween 2 was 09. So I mean that could be
Oh
a
seven.
factor.
Yeah.
So he
Yeah,
could
Halloween
have
2.
possibly filmed both at the same time or one right after the other.
Mhm.
Well, they should have pulled a Ty West and filmed the films back to back.
True.
I think if I can just speak on that for 1 second, Ty West has set a new precedent. Like when I think of Back to the Future 2 and 3 or Matrix shouldn't have been done and done, uh, those are films that were shot back to back and were
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Ty West is carving his own path and it looks beautiful.
I'm loving it so far. I can't wait for Maxine.
Yes.
I can't
If he
wait.
can pull it off and release it this year, impressive.
Woo! If we
Ooh.
get Maxine like in December, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. He be setting records. Released 3 big films in 1 year.
It'll be interesting, but I know is different challenges, right? Because he was able to repurpose a set that was already built to film the other
Hmm.
one. Maxine, we're going to move forward, so I'm sure he has to spend
Yeah.
more money. I looked at the box office sales and it was only like 6 million, but he only spent $1 million on the film, so
Mm.
he's already made his money back and then some.
Oh yeah,
And
definitely.
he's like, thank you.
This is
Yeah,
mine.
or that was the first week. I haven't looked this week, but as soon as it crossed the
Pearl.
million mark, it was fine.
Well, since we're on that subject, I know it has nothing to do with Halloween. Which movie y'all like better, X or Pearl?
Oh,
I have not been able to definitively
who did I
say.
talk to? Was it you I was talking to about that? We were
Yeah.
talking. Okay. Who? That is.
Yeah.
I just talked about that. I'm still struggling. I mean,
I think Pearl is the better storytelling.
yeah,
However, X hits all like the feels.
yeah.
People dying, Kid Cudi's member, more alligators, like
Yeah,
everything.
I feel like it just depends on like the mood you're in. Like if you're looking for character development and like origin story, then Pearl.
Okay.
If you're just wanting to see blood, guts, and tits and ass, then X. But
I kind of agree with that. It's hard for me because I got that question too, and I couldn't. And like at one point, I just said, "I was like, oh, it's Pearl. It's Pearl. I love Pearl so much better." But when I think about it, I will say, I had more fun with X.
yeah,
I think Pearl for me is the better movie, at
especially with
least for
that
me.
monologue. Oh,
Yeah, like I think just the way it looked, the monologue, just the choices and stuff on there. I feel like Mia Goth's character was a little bit more fleshed out in Pearl than obviously X, and she did such
Oh yeah.
a fucking amazing job. So yeah, like you said, Ash, like if I'm there in the mood for just like a slasher and a good time, I'll say X. But if I want just throw on something and just just chill and get into the characters, I guess Pearl would be it. I wonder what Maxine's going to give.
I know. Like on our recording for Pearl, I said that Pearl is most likely one of the top films for me this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
But X is for me too. Like
yeah, like
X was probably like my number one for this year so far. I don't. Yeah, I think so. But now when Pearl came out, I'm just like, oh, I
damn
don't
you,
know.
Okay,
Ty
before
West.
Pearl. Okay.
Right.
I blame him.
Right.
I think for sure, just because of the better storytelling, it's Pearl. Because that part was, for me, I can't think of a better or another film where you get the backstory, but you also understand the unraveling.
Yeah,
Like
Mhm.
it isn't, you're rooting for her to go crazy, but
Yeah.
it's like you can see it as is like, wow, this is like, wow.
right. I know. Okay, I'll go ahead. I'll just say Pearl. I'll go ahead and say it. Um, there's one scene in that movie that actually scared the crap out of me, and and I was like, "That's it. That's done."
I want to know which one. Hint. You don't
It
have to
was
say it.
with an axe in the daytime.
Got
Oh.
you. I know exactly. Yeah.
So
There's a there's a
I
different
laughed.
scene.
I laughed at that scene actually. Well, how that scene came about, I laughed at it.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you're laughing about it because you're like, okay, and then you
Yeah.
see what's happening. You're like,
Hold up.
Yeah, yeah. She's
like
built different.
I was in my seat like,
How did y'all feel about Lori and Annie's relationship? Because obviously this one is a little bit more strained. They're not as best friends anymore. Lori found some new friends, and you can tell that Annie feels some type of way. They both dealing with trauma their own way, and it eventually leads into like an argument between the two until um, Annie's demise, which is one of the
oh,
saddest scenes to me
it
in
is,
the
yeah.
Halloween franchise. Like that whole moment was just so sad.
I was telling my mom about that too because I was like, "Hey, mom, you want to watch this movie with me?" And I, like when that scene was about to come on, I was like, this scene makes me sad." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, just you know what I'm talking about. Just watch it. But to answer your question, I felt like it was their relationship was really it was realistic. Like
Yeah.
anytime, like like friends are faced with some type of dilemma, trauma, or anything, there's going to be issues. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. Like y'all just went through some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like they're both trying to like figure out how to navigate through what they experience. Annie like dealt with it by putting her foot down, especially like towards her dad, like she's being strict about what he's eating and how he's like acting, his job, like pretty much everything about him.
Right.
And then Angel.
Oh,
I'm just
Angel
kidding.
Myers.
Angel. Lori. But she is dealing with it through acting out. She's like the way she looks, like how she dressed, how she did her hair.
Yeah, I caught that
And
shit
just
too.
I never noticed it before, and I was just like, oh, okay. But just like her whole demeanor,
She's still making
like
them choices too. Listen, I like Taylor Compton,
yeah,
but she was on Alive, and she did a video with Danielle recently, and she was wearing locks, or I would say dreads in this case, and I was just like,
Choices.
yeah, choices because Scout, nobody like, girl, what's happening? Like, is this for a movie role? What's up?
You just
What's
watch. Is
good?
someone gonna tell her? No one's
Right.
gonna tell her.
Nobody's gonna tell her. Danielle, like, you're older, you should know, but I guess not.
she's like, shit, I'm not gonna let it get in the way of my bag. I got mouths to feed. But you would think like when you endure something traumatic, it'll help you bring to be closer with the ones near you. But that's not the case with this movie.
Right.
And it's just heartbreaking because like you see them in the first film, like how close they are. They're like they think of themselves as sisters and all that stuff, and it's just like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that Rob Zombie tries to do well is like rip that perfect lens off of the Halloween franchise of like this was Laurie and her girl group and they were all babysitters and everything worked out into this one tragic night. And versus like this version, it's like, okay, we get to explore Annie a little bit more. And shout out to Danielle Harris being able to come back.
Yeah.
One thing I disagree with, all right, we used her in the first one and then we bring her back just to kill her. Not okay with that, but that's fine. That's just me fanboying. However, like you said, Annie is taking care of the sheriff. And then Annie is a child trying to take care of Lori. A child can't help a child through trauma. And if the sheriff is an invalid in so many ways, he can't help either. So it's like saying that like you think you have support, but really you're in a screwed up situation, which was something interesting he did there, but I don't think the average film goer is getting all that.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That's true.
I'm not saying he's ahead of his time. I just think he went too complex in
Yeah.
trying to rip the veil off.
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna want to think while they're watching a slasher film.
But it's not even much to think about. It's there in your face. Like, you know, I mean, again, somebody like you said, a casual viewer is probably just like, yeah, like whatever, sure. I just want to see people get killed. But for some people that is, I guess, into it, it's not really much to think about. You can see the differences between your relationship. At one point, they had an argument, even saying like Andy was saying something about like your new friends. I'm not buying this new Lori act. Like you're acting different. Like it's there. She's saying it. You
Yeah.
know. So it's just I don't know. Like it's like it's there in your face.
I agree. I mean, girl, I was stabbed butt naked. I am your friend. Like
You see the scar on my cheek?
Right. She did that. She was like, "You see this fucking? You're not the only one who's fucking traumatized. Hello, almost died. I know you almost died too, but I was ass naked on the floor. My ass got dragged in. I got dragged across the fucking floor. Like
it's not funny, but it is.
I got bitch slapped. Like it was a lot that Danielle went through, but you know,
yeah. At the end of 07, I was like, they just did her like that.
Right.
They brought her back to do this. Which was jarring. I remember when I saw it, I was like, ooh, no.
Yeah. But you know, that's one thing again, and I think this is why I fell on liking this movie, because Rob Zombie, to me, this felt realistic. He showed like this is how people act when they going through when they went through traumatic events. Like Ash was saying, Lori is doing it in the way of acting out. She got a new friend, the way she's dressed, the way she got her hair, and Annie's doing it by taking care of her father and trying to be a little bit more, nurturing, and she's doing it her own way. And just to see these two friends act this way and actually have this fight, and the next time they eventually get together is when Annie's bleeding out on the floor. So it's not like they can even mend their friendship, apologize to each other, or none of that. Like you see your friend dying on the floor, and then that's it, you know. So I mean, it sucks for Lori, and it sucks for everybody, because I mean, look, it's Michael Myers just in here just trying to get revenge, getting everybody the fuck out of here. He just want his sister back. And unfortunately, Danielle was in the way, and
shit, she was trying to take a shower. He was in her shower. She was by her own business. He's the one that broke into the house.
That's true.
Home invasion.
That's true, and that makes it scary too, because he's just walking up in people's houses. I don't know how his big ass got in without them knowing, but sure. But that scene, we could talk about it. But that scene, I remember I was in the theaters like this. And my boyfriend was just staring at me like from the side, like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, you don't see what's happening? Like, he's always judging me when I'm watching these movies, but whatever. But like, I don't like, all right, first of all, it's Danielle Harris. That's one. Two, she survived the first film, and then they're about to kill her off on this one. And then the way it happened, again, you didn't see it. You just see the whole slow motion run. You just hear the noise and just hear her being cut up and screaming. And you just hear like the commotions going on, but you're not seeing. That's more effective to me than seeing her being thrown around or whatever. That was more heartbreaking for me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But yeah, I know like my first time seeing this film, I didn't really pay much mind to it. I was just like, okay, we're getting another kill. But it's like the more and more times that, I mean, when I first saw this movie, I was just delving into the horror genre. Like I was finally feeling comfortable watching these movies, because I remember when the first movie came out, I was terrified to even watch the trailers on TV.
I was hyped every time it came on. I can see 100 times. Like, keep it on, don't change the channel.
Yeah, like at this friend, I'm not friends with her anymore, but I remember like watching it for the first time at her house, and I was just like, and like really like getting into it. But like watching this movie now, and like just when that scene hits, like it's like a punch in the gut, because like you're, besides Lori, you're rooting for Annie, and then like if you're a fan of the whole franchise itself, you're rooting for Danielle Harris, because you're like, we finally got her back in a Halloween movie. This is what we need, and y'all going to treat her dirty. So it's just like, how that whole scene played out, and like everyone was acting their asses off, like off. Like you have Danielle going through it. Tyler Mane is just huffing and puffing and grunting like he is putting in work.
Yeah.
And then the scene where Sheriff finds out that his daughter was attacked and she died, like just like Brad acted his ass off.
He is the best part of this movie.
Oh,
wholeheartedly. And you know, that should be said that Rob Zombie clearly went back into his childhood and brought his favorite stars to this film. Like when I saw Margot Kidder on the film, I was like, wait, what's going on here?
I forgot she was in that too.
Yes, and she's playing a character named Barb again because her name is Barb in Black Christmas. So when I was watching this, I fucking forgot she's playing Barb again.
Like it was cool. Howard Hesselin. I didn't realize Brea Grant was in this.
Yeah, she played one of the friends.
Yeah, that was like, I was like, wait, she looks so. I was like, oh.
I remember there's a scene when she gets killed and like she gets stabbed in the chest, and when Michael takes out the knife, it's literally like a pop. You hear like a right when you go back, just watch it. You literally hear the pop when he takes it out. I'm like, was that done purposely or like?
You're like, my work here is done.
That's exactly how it sounds. But yeah, Brea Grant is in here, and the other friend, I believe she was on like one of those MTV shows. I think she was like on Road Rules or something, or the Challenge or something. Yeah, she came from reality TV, which was interesting.
Did she really?
Mm-hmm.
Let me look that up because I knew she looked familiar too.
Yeah, I had to look. I was like, that person looks familiar. And then when I saw, I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Octavia Spencer.
Yes. Who plays Octavia? She plays herself.
My mom was like, don't do her like that.
All right, listen. All right, so let's talk about the kills. While I have a whole pinpoint on this. So one of the first kills is Octavia Spencer.
Road Rules.
And Road Rules. I knew it was one of those. I was on board like with your mom. Why do they have to do our girl like that? First of all, what did she do to Michael Myers for him to be stabbing her ass up like that aggressively?
And he was great. He was like, ugh.
Like she did something. I think it's racist, and Rob Zombie don't like black people, so he said that she was going to get it that way. Because not anybody else in that film didn't get it that way.
No,
but her, as far as getting stabbed.
No, I mean I'm with you on that. And it's like the first official person of color in this film to get it, and it's like I hate that the initial attack takes place off screen. The whole. Let me see how I want to word this. The whole opening sequence annoys me from the standpoint of one, when they kill Laurie, I was like, all right, I like where the story's going. And then you find out that it's a dream. Spoiler alert if you've not seen this film by now. However, it doesn't make sense that she's going to know that Michael's truck hit a cow. And Richard Brake, I've never heard someone say fuck so many times. Oh my
gosh. I was sitting on the couch like...
Rob Zombie got like a problem with making his characters curse so much. In the director's cut, even Laurie, there's a scene when she meets Danielle for breakfast, and then she's like, oh, I guess I know what I'll be acting about in therapy today. And Danielle Harris says one day at a time, and Laurie says one day at a time, and then she's like, one fucking day at a time. If I hear that fucking phrase one more fucking time, I'm gonna go fuck. I'm like, oh my gosh, like why is she saying fucking so many times?
Yeah,
it was just like, oh. But they cut that out in the theatrical version. Like in the theatrical version, they literally cut out after she says one day at a time, then they go to the next scene. But in this version, it just goes. And even Annie's getting upset. She's like, all right, Laurie, damn, geez, calm down. So the amount of curse words, like, I mean, I get it, Rob, but damn, like we seen that in House of a Thousand Corpses and definitely in Devil's Rejects.
It's
like,
literally in every single one of his films. And that it takes me out every time. So I'm just like, why am I still watching this?
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
I agree. And I wonder like how he gets influences, because if he does everything himself, right, and direct, then where do you pick up that new skill? And there's nothing against Rob Zombie. All for people who can make their own films and get them. I watch them, so it's like I'm not shitting on them. But influence, like if we never met, right? I don't get better at horror movies just by talking to myself. In my mind, I do.
Same.
I mean, it's just like Quentin Tarantino with the N word. Why did you have to say that in that movie? That has nothing to do with this movie.
Exactly. You know, and sometimes I don't catch on to that stuff, and then when I listen to like podcasts, and then they like people bring stuff to my attention, I'm like, that did happen. Ooh, like I didn't realize like when I was listening to Girl That's Scary's episode on Death Proof, because that's like I love Death Proof and Planet Terror. Those are like my I love those. But I didn't realize like when they were talking about Kim, Tracy Tom's character, and I forgot she's a stunt double, like a stunt person in real life. Zoe Bell. Love Zoe Bell. But I didn't realize like how it was some like racial shit in here too by Zoe Bell calling Tracy Tom's character a black bitch. I'm just like, that was unnecessary, y'all. I didn't have to say that.
They brought up some good points in that episode. Because they're like, why they call Julia Jungle Julia? I was like,
right. Exactly.
I mean, I never felt right about that. Even when I first watched it, I was like, why did they do Sidney Poitier's daughter like that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know.
She's great in that movie. I loved her in that.
He low-key fetishizes about celebrities' daughters. He did the same thing once upon a time in California, where it's like all the groupie girls are like celebrity daughters for the most part.
You're right. Isn't like, Danielle Harris in that movie for a slight second too? She plays like a pregnant woman.
Yep. So it's like,
and now that I think about it, I'm laughing because what's her name is in it? From Scream 5.
Mickey or Mikey
Madison.
Yeah.
And she pretty much died the same way she died in Scream 5 by getting set on fucking fire.
That was her audition for Scream 5. For real.
I loved it. Oh, because I was watching it recently. I'm just like, hold the fuck up. Did they do this on purpose? Like, they was like, we like how she died in this movie, so we just gonna recreate it for Scream 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. But yeah, the kill. So Octavia Spencer, she got killed in a brutal way. And I do know in the director's cut when Laurie's running, she runs into, and this is how you kind of know that it's like a dream too, but they didn't want to put that in the theatrical version, I guess, because they don't want to, I guess, they didn't want to give away at that time that it was a dream. But in the director's cut, when Laurie's running, she sees like a bunch of dead bodies. Like it's like a pit of dead bodies that she has to like walk across and get across to go to the other side. I said, yeah, that's unrealistic. This have to be a dream because there's no way that Michael got all them dead bodies in that pit and nobody didn't know. So the director's
cut that she's up and walking around of a minimum 14 to 20 hour surgery.
Yeah,
it should be the next.
Yeah, exactly. So what was some of y'all favorite kills in this movie?
That Laurie kill is my favorite kill because I was just like, at the time, I was like, this is setting a tone. Complete new direction. Love it. Done. And then she wakes up screaming. I'm like, oh, okay.
So so where you thought the movie was going to go, she died that way?
That was going to follow Annie.
Oh, okay.
Because at that point, I knew Danielle Harris was back in the film.
Yeah.
And so I just thought we were just going, all right, this is what happens to Annie after she's survived by her. Wait, how do we say that phrase? Survived by Laurie.
Yeah.
That would have been that would be an interesting take.
Yeah, like, imagine how that would be.
But people were like, oh my gosh, no, it's not a Halloween movie without Laurie Strode.
I mean, technically she was in it. She got killed in the beginning.
Yeah.
I also didn't know 100% if she was Annie. Just because I was like, maybe he's doing like a thing with his wife again. Recasting the same people. However, it's confirmed by the time they get to breakfast.
Yeah. It's interesting that Danielle was. I know, right? It's interesting that Danielle Harris was like 30. I think she was 30 when she played Annie on the first Halloween. And she was playing a teenager. I'm just like, oh, wow. It makes me think.
I look at their friendship now, and I think about it from time to time. Like, Danielle's got to be close to 50.
Yeah, she's in like her mid-40s, I think.
45? Yeah.
Yeah. And Scout is like 32, like in early 30s, like
Right.
our age. So it's interesting. I listen to their podcast all the time, though. They got like
Hey,
great chemistry. They're
yeah,
great.
no disrespect to Danielle whatsoever.
Yeah.
She's still
Oh yeah,
horror
she's still
royalty.
hot. Yeah. So did y'all see if y'all listen to, I think it was their recent one or the last week one where she had her theory on Halloween. Like if Jamie was to come back, she
No.
wrote out, she had her own theory because she said somebody asked her and she said from time to time she think about it, and she said she wrote something short, but she's saying that it should be one like probably like a mini series, and it should be based on. I think it's kind of weird though, but I don't know. But she's saying something like Jamie Lloyd have kids or something, and it takes place after Halloween 5. Halloween 6 doesn't exist in this timeline, and she's still suffering from these visions with Michael Myers. But she said it passes down onto her kids, and she said something happens between that and Michael coming back, and it got a little like weird to me when she was explaining that. And I'm just like, I mean, it's interesting, Danny, but you might want to keep working on that.
That first half right there would have been great, like a great starting point.
Yeah.
Like, what's Jamie been up to? Like,
yeah,
how is she handling all that?
All right, so Grae, this is in my head because I remember when we were talking about Halloween Kills last year, and I still remember you said that if they do like a TV show of Halloween, it should be Josh Hartnett and Danielle Harris, and it should be based on their kids with the season of the witch mask, and it's just them trying to save their kids with the whole silver shamrock mask and stuff like that. So it's not necessarily talking about obviously Michael Myers, but it's still set in that world. And I would sit there and fucking watch that. That would be amazing.
Are you telling me you pitched it to Danielle?
I would. You should do it. You do it. You are a fan.
Here, type up the email right now.
Yeah, you go for it. This is your idea.
Is he still acting? Josh Hartnett?
Yeah.
I believe he is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I know Penny Dreadful, but I feel like I haven't seen him since.
He was in something recently, and I was like, oh, that's Josh Hartnett.
Yeah, I would love to see them two together. If that concept ever came to life, you should definitely get your coin, Grae, and be on the writing teams. And I would love to just see that come out. And then maybe, throw some hints in there about Michael Myers possibly coming back like in another season or so. I don't know. But focus on the Silver Shamrock mask. That would be dope.
Yeah, I think, like if you called the show Haddonfield.
Because there's different. I mean, you don't have to just focus on Michael Myers. I'm pretty sure other shit happens in Haddonfield. So, or at least surrounding areas.
Tommy Doyle spinoff, except like first Michael Myers, Tommy Doyle, not current Tommy Doyle.
So no Evil Dice Night?
No.
No one needs a young Trump Republican.
Yeah, no MAGA supporter, Tommy Doyle. We don't want that version.
But if Paul Rudd would oblige us, I would really love to see what his character has been up to.
But it's interesting because a lot of people were talking about, they were trying to get Paul Rudd back as Tommy for the Halloween Kills, but he's busy doing Ghostbusters. But then I'm like, well, in that case, why didn't they just bring back Danielle Harris if they think there's going to be some confusion with the timeline? Because if I see Paul Rudd, this has nothing to do with Halloween 6. But y'all bring him back to play that same character just in a different universe. So why can't y'all do the same thing for Danielle Harris?
They weren't even thinking about her.
Right. And the shade was, from what I don't know if this is a rumor, but I remember hearing that Karen original name was supposed to be Jamie.
Oh. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
And technically they're the same age. Judy Greer and Danielle Harris. I think they're around the same age or close.
Yeah.
Close enough. So I don't know.
I wonder what happened. I know Halloween 6 was over money. And I hope that still wasn't the case. I can't imagine that would still be the case. I know nothing about her financial situation or her rate as a SAG member. But I would hope that wasn't a hindrance this time around. That it was just hey guys, I've been in it enough. I don't need to be a side character.
Yeah. Definitely not. What about let's kills. Let's get back. Ash, what was some favorite kills from you?
Favorite kills, probably the whole strip club scene was really
Ooh.
good, especially like the whole encounter between Michael and I forgot the guy's name that was like taking out the trash.
Yeah.
That was pretty brutal. The whole gosh, there were so many kills in this movie.
Mhm.
And then like the family that were like they're in like the fields and they see Michael
Oh yeah.
Oh
and the
yeah.
dad and the brother are like super aggressive towards him and they get their asses kicked and
Yeah.
Yeah, like they think they really put a hurt on Michael.
yeah.
And the wife's like, "You shouldn't have done that. You should."
Right.
I felt bad for the sister because I'm like, she
She was
had
being
nothing to
sweet
do
to
with
him.
this. And
Yeah.
like the poor dog too. Like
I know. He was hungry.
I
Michael ate dogs.
and I like when that scene happened, I was telling my mom, I was like, I keep forgetting Michael likes to eat dogs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Molly and Bentley. Y'all didn't hear mommy say that.
I think that that one scene hints towards, again, Rob, I'm not sure if you're going this direction. To Michael derives his power from the mask. Because like
Mhm.
he gets knocked down as Michael Myers and then he puts on
The
Michael
mask.
Myers mask.
Yeah.
And then like he's back to supernatural or whatever you want to call it. He's
Yeah.
healed.
So
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Or you can just go back to Halloween '07 standards and he thinks it hides his ugliness, so that's why he keeps putting it on.
It doesn't hold up, right? But I did enjoy that spin. Like when '07
Yeah.
was coming out, I was like, to me, we hadn't had a good entry since 1989. So 18 years later, finally having a solid entry. I watched H2O, just was upset.
Mm.
Uh
Whew.
and
We
I
talked about
know
this too, though.
it was successful. Like
Yeah.
07 was very successful. Hence
Oh
we
yeah.
got that H2.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Dangertainment.
to
Not
think we almost got
entertaining.
a part 3.
Yeah, the plot for part 3 was interesting. Laurie was going to be going. It was going to be Laurie and Michael going around shanking people up. But and then it was supposed to be like 3D, and then they changed that. And
Yeah.
I remember Scout was saying something about her getting ready for it, and then they just decided to just cut it and just
And give
get
us
rid of
Scream
it.
4.
Right.
I'm glad they did. I don't think
I
that
mean,
this
yeah,
was
me too.
Yeah. As far as kills, I think that's the same for me. I think outside of Annie's kill, I would have to say Dr. Loomis kill. I'm getting fucked up in that shed. But also definitely that scene in the strip club when old girl was just getting slammed repeatedly over and over in that mirror. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, and as you see her being slammed, you see her face starting to swell up as
yeah.
it kept going. They're like, that's some crazy shit. You don't really see that in horror movies. Like usually in horror movies, you see the after effect. Like after all that's done, then you see the look. But as he was going, you start to see the way she started to like transform and her face started to like, swell up and stuff. I'm just like, yo, this is insane.
Yeah.
And then Michael's like, he just keeps going and he's like, and he pauses. He's like, one more.
It's so true. It's like a UFC fight unraveling, except
Yeah.
one-sided.
So I want to ask, like, y'all thoughts on Dr. Loomis in this movie? Because his character did a good old switcheroo.
Sure
In
did.
one way, I think Rob Zombie did a great job of being ahead of his time and showing like Dr. Loomis the influencer well before social media got into the height that it is.
Mm-hmm.
But also, given how much work Donald Pleasant put into the franchise, I do think it's a disservice.
Yeah.
You should have done it.
I agree. I mean, like you said, Grae, like I get it. Like this is probably what success do to people, especially if you're making money off of stuff. So people do change, and Rob definitely showed what happens to people during, milking, I guess people's using people trauma and murders and things like that to build your own success. It's fucked up. That's why they had that scene where he's doing a book signing and Linda's father come in there and he's ready to kill him and get him out of here. He's like, you making all this money, from this book, and you practically killed my daughter. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This is your fault. But that's why I didn't really care when Dr. Loomis got it at the end, because I felt like it was well deserved.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
were an ass. And speaking of Reno 911, I know I brought that up earlier, but his assistant was played by Kimball on Reno 911, and the way he was talking to her was just like, he's like, if I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you. And I'm just like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah, he was off the chain in some scenes. Like the book signing scene when he's like taking a picture with the girl. He's like, "So, are you really a redhead all over?" I'm like,
right.
Dr. Loomis.
It,
And
yeah.
listen, I love me some Malcolm McDowell. I think he did a great job playing Dr. Loomis in that first one, but in this one right here, I'm just like, no, just no.
Yeah, I'm glad that I want to believe that we couldn't have the current Dr. Loomis spirit, I guess, in the
Yeah.
current direction without this horrible interpretation. I think even I'm curious what happens in Halloween Ends, because first one we have a voice actor, second one we have the best practical effects I've ever seen. So how do you outdo that for the third and final installment?
I don't
I
know.
don't know, man. I was freaking out when that scene came up on Halloween Kills. I'm just like, I thought it was a deep fake at first, and then when I found out that was practical, I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
could have been doing this the whole time, and everybody was just too lazy. What?
right.
Ugh.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. All right. So, yeah, those are our favorite kills. So overall, like, what were your, watching this movie? I guess preparing for this. What were your final thoughts? Like, did it change y'all mind? Did y'all like it better? Did y'all like it less? What were y'all last impressions of Rob Zombie H2?
Who wants to go first?
I think that one, I watched it on Peacock this time, and the last time I saw it was the unrated version. Well, that's the version I own. I was just being lazy and didn't want to find my PlayStation. So it was kind of like discovering a movie for the first time, because I haven't seen the original since I rented it back in 09. And so little things were weird, or like I was having the same reactions we talked about before we started. It's like, I don't remember this scene, or wasn't this longer, and things like that. However, for a long time, I said Halloween 2 is better than Halloween '07, and I think it's the other way around for me now. I appreciate
Oh,
'07 better.
okay.
That is a new revelation.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel about just saying that? You good?
I just because I can still remember the moment of hearing the music playing while I was watching a trailer in the theater. Like, that was impactful. Like,
Right.
oh wait, what is this sound? Versus '02 happened, and then you have, or '02, '09 happened. You have Sherry Moon come back in a different role, but it's the same role, but she's already dead, so it's weird. You have a recasting of Michael, young Michael, and then you have the way they did Danielle. I just can't.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Well, I guess they're
that's
going for it. Nobody's safe. Like, if then you thought she was going to survive again because she survived that first one. This time, she got to get, cut.
well, that's why I was so excited that they killed Lori, or that I thought they killed Lori. Like, let's just get this out of the way.
That's crazy. What about you, Ash?
Yeah, so just like Grae, I watched this on Peacock, even though this was just on Tubi, the unrated version, which I prefer. But I remember like before I would say, "Oh my gosh, this movie is so horrible. It's just trash." Just like anyone else, like if you were to ask like someone that you know, like on social media, be like, "What are your thoughts on this movie?" They're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, it's trash." Well, I have changed my ways, and
Ooh.
this time around, I don't think it's not as bad as I put it to be when I first watched it. This movie is messy. It is cuckoo bananas. I feel like it would have been a decent film had Zombie left out the whole white horse narrative and bringing back his wife, but we know that's never going to happen. So we got this. But yeah, I feel like it would have been just fine without all that crap. It's not that bad. I've seen worse films.
Yeah.
It's a Rob Zombie film. What do you expect?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if I'm in the mood for something off the chain, I'm gonna put this in. I still a big fan of the first film. I'd rather watch the first film than this one because I love the whole origin story of Michael Myers. I love a good uh like killer origin story.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like Rob did a great job with that. But like with this film, I didn't have any problems like watching it. I wasn't struggling like I used to.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Again, I think for me, like I struggled back and forth. The first time I seen it, I was hype about it, like I told you guys, just because I seen this in theaters. Like Michael Myers is brutal. Yes, I had some problems with it, but whatever. And then when I owned it, I'm just like, this is not so good. This is not the Michael Myers I know and like. But then like letting the movie sit with me, I think it's actually a really good film. To me, I think it's the better film. I even like the look of it is a little bit more gritty. As you when you watch it, it's a gritty film, not just what happens in it, but just the overall look of it. And I feel like the character, like Rob Zombie's was like, all right, crack knuckles, I'm able to play with these characters and do what I want, no restrictions. And I think I like that. The only part, like you asked, is that the white horse is just, that's the only thing I probably would definitely take out of this movie. I would take out the white horse and probably keep everything else the same. Also the ending. Like I said, I prefer the director's cut, but the theatrical ending. The theatrical ending, Laurie kills Michael by stabbing him in the face. She walks out wearing his mask. She falls to her knees, and next thing you know, she's in the hospital and stuff. And the director's cut, Michael kills Dr. Loomis. He takes off his mask and screams, "Die! Die!" and kill. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? So that pissed me off. And then he gets shot up to death because Rob Zombie got a fascination of Michael Myers being shot up. Because if you guys didn't know, the original ending to his Halloween was Michael Myers was supposed to get shot up and killed, and that's how it was supposed to end. They did reshoots, and that's when we got the epic ending where Laurie's in the ceiling and he's using the thing to get her down, which was great. But originally he got shot up, and the movie ended that way, which was stupid. So they did it again with the director's cut, and then I think what happened, I forgot what happens to Laurie. Oh yeah, she comes out and she gets shot up and she gets shot in the head. So they kill Laurie too. But then we still get that sequence where she's in the hospital and she sees Sherry Moon Zombie walking with the horse. So I'm like, you can take it in two different ways. You can take it in, all right, she shot up and killed, and this is what she's seeing. I guess this is her hell or heaven or whatever. And the theatrical version, she's still alive and she's obviously, I guess, crazy. So this is what she's seeing as well. So I really hated the director's cut version, and I prefer when she was stabbing Michael up in the fucking face, making sure he wasn't coming back this time.
Do you think, and like this definitely goes back to like me and innovation of creativity. Like, do you think you were not satisfied by that because you saw it in 2005 in The Devil's Rejects? Because why would you end two movies in the same way?
Right. I just think it's just a lazy way to take out a character, especially as a character like Michael Myers. Like, I feel like, I don't know what else to do with this character, so yeah, let's just take him out that way. No, I feel like in the world of Halloween, there's a creative way to take out a person, especially Michael Myers. I think they could have done something a little different. And that's why in 07, I prefer where, he sees Laurie and they both fall off the balcony and she shoots him, and I guess in the face, and she screams. That was great. That was something different. We didn't get that in many horror movies. But for him to just get shot up and take him down that way, I'm just like, I can just watch a fucking Western or action movie see somebody get shot the fuck down.
Or
I don't care. Like, I don't want to see like Michael Myers get shot down that way, and that's why he's sticking out. But I guess And again, Rob Zombie's world, he's trying to go the more realistic route. And technically, Michael Myers is a man. He's not a human being. We need to understand that. Well, he is a human being. We need to understand it. That's what Laurie said in 2018. And I guess they were trying to go that route, but nah. I prefer Laurie stabbing him up in the fucking face. More gory, more is different. And I like the fact that she comes out wearing his mask and she completely lost it. Opposed to him getting shot down and Laurie getting shot down, and it's just a tragic ending, and then they're together forever, dead family in hell. I don't know. Rob Zombie is an interesting person, but I don't know. Like Ash, Google, I'm not Google, but like YouTube those scenes.
Okay.
So you can see what I'm talking about, because yeah, it's there. And let me know your preference, your preferred ending.
Okay.
All right, well that would be the end, y'all. What would y'all rate this movie out of 5? I guess Sherry Moon Zombie. No, 5 white horses.
Oh,
5 white
Lord.
horses. And also, I always do a thing on my channel where when I review a movie, and if I suggest a movie, somebody to watch a movie, I give it a hard hit watch. So if you recommend a movie, you can say hard hit watch, and if not, then you don't have to give it a hard hit watch. So what are your ratings?
So out of 5 white horses, I would give this 2.75 out of 5.
Okay.
And I give it. You said hard head watch.
Horror head.
Horror. Okay, horror. Okay, that's
horror
sorry.
head watch.
Yeah,
So,
and I give it a horror head watch. I mean, if you're a fan of the Halloween world, and yeah, like if you're a fan of that whole franchise, I say give it a watch just to say that you saw it and have your own opinions on it. Like I said before, I don't think it's that bad of a film. Like it does have its flaws, but there are some good things in the movie. So I mean, I would give it a solid 3, but I would give it that 0.75.
Okay. How about you, Grae?
I'm gonna give it 2.5 white horses, and that's only because. I'm not gonna let this go. They should have killed Laurie. But it's definitely a horror head watch. I think in order to appreciate where we are now, you definitely should see where we were. And no different than, going from Resurrection in 02 to this in 07. And then again in 09. It's just like, okay, someone's breathing more life into this franchise. And, we let it cool off for smooth 9 years. And now we're here with something that I think most horror fans are anticipating, whether you liked Kills or 18 or not. You're still going to come hate watch it.
Yeah.
What about you, Bobby?
All right. So I'll give it I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a solid 3 white horses. Even though I talk a bunch of shit, about it, I do enjoy this movie. I do have a good time just because, again, the kills are brutal. Even though the characters, I mean, Laurie can be insufferable sometimes, but I appreciate the character development with these characters and seeing what they went through and what they've gone through. A lot of movies lack that, especially horror movies. Sometimes they just ignore it, and I appreciate the fact that we see these characters, all these characters, if you think about it, even Sheriff Brackett, like the changes that happen to them after these events.
Yeah.
And I like to see that in movies. I like to see development. Again, the only problem with me is just the premonitions and the sidekick connection that doesn't really make any sense. And Sherry Moon Zombie and this horse, like I would definitely take those out. But overall, I do enjoy the film. I think it's one of Rob Zombie's better films, and I feel like if this wasn't a Michael Myers movie and it was a different type of killer, I feel like it would have done well. Well, I think it would have been received well to, like, I guess the horror community if this wasn't a Halloween film, if it was something else. But being as though that is connected to Halloween, and it is a Michael Myers film, and so many people's used to, Michael Myers being a shape and being the supernatural entity and things like that, and you go from that to this humanized version of him. People was like, this is cool, but I don't think we need it. We like that supernatural version of Michael Myers, and that's me. I'm that person. I like to know. I like to not know why Michael is killing. People. It's scarier when he's killing that random. It's scarier when he's just going fucking people up for no reason and popping up in people's houses just to get them out of here. Like, there's no motive there, and I appreciate that, and I like that. So, in this version, yeah, I'm happy we have it. I'm happy that it's there, but I don't want to see it again. So yeah.
You said something very interesting. You think you could have enjoyed this film or these two entries if it was sequels or remakes to The Town That Dreaded Sundown?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would like it a lot better.
While I do enjoy the remake to that film, I think the remake wasn't good, but shined a spotlight on the original.
Yeah.
Versus like these Halloweens, if you take Michael Myers out of it, I think it would be perfect, brutal. The grittiness would make sense. That's just the first thing that came to mind.
If it was that, I would probably enjoy the movie 10 times more. But again, it's like I said, I appreciate the difference in the different version we got of Michael Myers and Laurie and Haddonfield in general. But I'm good. We got it. I'm good. I like my supernatural Mikey. So well, that's it, y'all. That concludes our review, our discussion on Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Before we go, again, thanks again, y'all, for joining me. I love talking to y'all. Again, y'all are like my faves.
Thank you.
And yes, again, thanks for this. Happy Halloween. Plug y'all socials again, just in case anybody missed it. And yeah.
You can find me. I'm just kidding. You can find me on Twitter at you can find me on Twitter at Ash to Ashes. That's Ash with the X in the middle, Ashes. And you can follow my podcast page on Twitter also at Rise from Dead Pod. And stay tuned for my special birthday episode coming soon.
Well, by the time this is out, your birthday episode, hopefully, I think should be out.
Yeah, it should be out.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's me. I'm Grae. Hello again. You can find me on social media at Grae himself. That's Grae himself. As well as on Kill the Dead. I don't think we plugged that at all.
Oh shit.
You can find us on our actual podcast.
Yes.
Kill the Dead. Yes,
with our fellow sexy man voice himself. Ooh.
Okay.
That's my best impression.
Yes, Bobby.
Thanks again for having us, Bobby.
Yes,
of course.
Clearly, we have no home training.
This is what happens when we get together. But no, I love having y'all. Obviously, Kill the Dead. Y'all came back, so I'm excited. Rise from the Dead is coming back. Grey Matter is coming back. So,
yeah, the Halloween 2 episode.
So yes, I'm just every time y'all put out something, I'm there. Like, I don't understand when I see a new episode that pop up. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. and I'm happen to be up. If I just see it pop up on my Apple Podcast or Spotify, I'm listening right away. I remember one time I was leaving work, and an episode popped up around 8, 9 o'clock. It was just an odd time, and I seen it. Maybe it just popped up on mine that way, and I seen it. I said, "Oh hell yes, play right away." Yeah, I just don't understand how excited I get listening to y'all. So,
yes,
and I'm not exaggerating. That's
thank you. Well,
no, of course. Thanks again, y'all. Obviously, y'all can find me here on the channel, Bobby Likes the Spooky, Also, the people under the scares with Michael Anthony. We have a bunch of shenanigans that we talk on here. By the time this come out, obviously we're back.
Heck yeah.
Child,
I'm already weak. Like,
yeah.
y'all haven't dropped the new episodes yet. I already know that I'm gonna be weak and my cheeks hurt.
Well, we shall see. October 14th. Yeah,
Yep.
October 14th. We'll be in the theaters. I think, as we're recording this today, but I think tomorrow the tickets go on sale. So I'm getting them first thing.
I will as well.
Yes, and we'll be there, and we'll be talking about Halloween Ends very, very soon. And Kill the Dead better be talking about Halloween Ends too, because I did it for Kills, I believe. So you better be doing it for Ends as well.
I guess you're gonna have to come help us.
I would love to. But thanks again, y'all. Devin, you are missed. I'm sure you'll be back next time. And say bye, y'all. And I'll see y'all in the next go round. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Stay spooky.